I'm Caitlin and welcome to the Lit Review. Today we are going to do the mid-year freakout tag for 2021. The original mid-year freakout tag was created by Chami and Ellie from Earl Grey Books on a blog long time ago. I will link both of their channels down below since they are the original creators of this tag. This is definitely something that the community comes together and does like every year, and so it's kind of exciting. I've been seeing some of them start to pop up now in my subscription pages, so I figured now was the time to get in on it once again. This whole thing is really just about different questions and things to make you think about the books that you've read from January to like June, mid-July, somewhere in there, the mid-year. So let's get into it. Question one is what's the best book you've read so far this year? And for me, that is unequivocally House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. That one hit me so hard in the feels, but was also just really light and wonderful and really just a positive reading experience, one that I actively looked forward to reading, and I think that makes it the best so far. Even though I have given books higher star ratings so far, I feel like that one is my best reading experience of the year. Or two, the best sequel you've read so far this year, and that would be Act Your Age, Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert. It's the third book in the Brown Sisters trilogy, and it's a delight. As Talia Hibbert books are. Like, I know this whole series is crazy high hyped, and honestly, it's deserved. It's not lying to you. People aren't lying to you when they say these books are good, and it was a very enjoyable sequel. Number three, a new release I haven't read yet, but I want to. Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid is a really high profile ad for me, and it was released this year. The other one that is a little bit older of a new release, but I still haven't read it, is A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. So those two are probably my highest priority reads for the time being. Number four, the most anticipated releases for the second half of the year. I have a lot. Shocking, I know. Let's see. So there are a couple of just favorite authors or like favorite series that are getting some new content, and when it comes to the series, there's a new Elle Kennedy book called The League coming out that's slated for the last half of this year. It's basically like you're checking in on a lot of the characters from her off-campus series, so I'm buying it when that comes out. Like, there's just no question. Same for The Perks of Loving a Wallflower by Erica Ridley. I read The Duke Heist earlier this year, and freaking loved it and the family, the Winchester family in those books. So I cannot wait to read the sequel that should be a female-female romance as well, a historical female-female romance. So like, give that to me quickly, please. And then the other one that's not a series but is an author that I am really coming to love more and more as I've read their work, and that's Velvet Was the Night by Silvia Moreno Garcia. Like, all of the books I've read of hers have been freaking fantastic, and that's one that's coming out later this year, and I'm really looking forward to it. I believe I have pre-ordered that one, so I know that one's coming my way. Number five is the biggest disappointment so far, and that's Enchantée by Guida Trullis. I've talked about this in a couple of videos recently, but it just not my favorite, because I thought the premise sounded really cool and I just couldn't get into it. I think the other biggest disappointment is actually The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. That book just like deeply pushed some buttons for me, so I actually think The Midnight Library is the bigger disappointment of the two, unfortunately. Number six, the biggest surprise. So for me, I think the biggest surprise so far has been Shadow of the Fox by Julie Kagawa. That is something that I read early on in the year as part of a Litland challenge for like a hype book that had passed you by or that you felt like you just never were excited for. And so I picked that one up, read it, and absolutely fell in love. So I'm really glad that I took on that challenge. And now I'm hoping to read the rest of that series and potentially just dive into more Julie Kagawa because I really like her writing style. So that one I think has been the biggest positive surprise this year. Number 7, favorite new author. And as per usual, I don't offer just one answer to a lot of these. I think Elizabeth Acevedo really blew me away. I finally read Clap When You Land this year, and it was exquisite. Big fan. Also, I mentioned her already, but Erica Ridley as a historical romance writer, I love it. I love her work. So I think those two are some big heavy hitters for me in terms of new authors this year. Number 8 is newest fictional crush. Full transparency, I prepped this list several weeks ago, just wanting to be able to like whip the video together. And then I've since read a book that actually gave me an answer because I did not have an answer for this. I have not had strong feelings about any of the characters that I have read until I read A Lady of Rooksgrave Manor by Catherine Moon, which is a paranormal historical erotica that's a reverse harem fantasy with a bunch of different paranormal gentlemen. And in particular, cliche though it may be, the vampire stole my heart. He bakes and he wants to feed her and then give her like a good time. Like, I'm A-okay with this. Also, this is not permanent. This is a temporary tattoo. I need to say that because it's going to disappear in a couple of videos and I don't want to confuse people, but this is a temporary tattoo. I'm figuring out if and where I want to put my next one. Anyway, number 9 is the newest favorite characters overall. Easy. Charlie and Nick from the Heartstopper series by Alice Oseman. Finally read Heartstopper Volume 1 this past May, and it was just, I've described it as like an instant serotonin boost. They were just both so lovely, and wholesome's like maybe an unfair word to use, but it was just like, it gave me such positive, uplifting feelings that wholesome feels appropriate, but it's just two high school age boys fallen in love through friendship. And I treasure them both. I think they're both very special individuals and they do a great job of representing their communities, and they're just special, okay? I love them. I would protect them. Also, just mad kudos to Alice Oseman, who can create such character growth and emotion in a webcomic that has been translated to a graphic novel. Like, that's really impressive. Thank you for your craft. Number 10, a book that made you cry. I am prone to crying about books. I do it all the time. However, this year has been more dry than not in terms of how frequently I'm crying. So I think the last book that made me cry is The Last Days of Summer by Steve Kluger. It's a historical YA told through like letters and telegraphs and all of this, and it takes place in World War II. And just, it was a nostalgia read for me. It was a reread, and it just still hit all my emotions. So that's the last book that made me cry. Number 11, a book that made you happy. Heartstopper, Volume 1 by Alice Oseman. I just described it as a boost in serotonin. That is so true. And thank you again to Kaylani from Kaylani Simply Me for gifting that to me. Big fan. Big fan. We'll be continuing on with the series. Hope they all make me that happy and give me all the warm fuzzies. Ooh, I think this is maybe my favorite question. It's number 12, the most beautiful book I've bought or received this year. And I'm cheating a little bit because I have 2. So, option 1 is Yolk by Mary H.K. Choi. Big fan. So again, love a yellow moment. You can see that the falling young woman on the front, I don't know, can you see? There we go. The reflection's kind of terrible, but it's like etched in a different texture on the front there as well. But for me, what makes this one of the most beautiful books I own is that these 2 women falling, and then they're holding hands. They're holding hands on the book. So cool. Such a cool piece of cover design. Wow. And then in a totally different way, I think, this book to me is also one of the most beautiful books I currently own and have acquired recently. Even though I need to take the sticker off that says signed by the author. But that's Ariadne by Jennifer Saint. Like, there's something about like a deep blue and a foil, whether that's in this case gold or sometimes silver. I just think this is like so captivating. Oh, and then look at these end pages. It's so pretty. So pretty. And I think notably, these are both hardbacks, and I don't buy hardbacks casually. So these had to be real stunners for me to want to bring them into my home. Okay, number 13. What book do you need to read by the end of the year? So I'm not excited about it, which makes it kind of a weird bit, but I actually really need to read Lonesome Dove by Larry McMurtry. This is for a video concept that is like very long overdue. This was on my TBR a couple of months ago, and I just avoided it and then took a punishment in Litland. It's just so long, and it's just a genre I don't love, but I need to try, so I have to read this by the end of the year. Number 14 is my favorite book community member, and I have two, because of course I do. I probably realistically have far more than two, but I'll restrain myself and only give you two. So first and foremost is still Kaylani from Kaylani Simply Me. She has been just like such a light in my life since we started BookTube around the same time, and she's just a great friend and a wonderful presence here on BookTube, and so she is probably always going to be one of my favorite community members. So just be prepared for that to almost always be my answer. Like, it's true. Kaylani's amazing. Please go check her out. I will link her channel down below. And the other favorite book community member in terms of somebody who actually has their own channel is a more recent discovery on my end, but Heather from Bell's Library has been just such a delight to speak with, and she has her own TBR game. She's, you know, continually growing her channel. She's a fellow small channel, and we've just had some really nice, lovely conversations. Truly, I've had some amazing conversations with so many of you in the last year plus that I've been doing this BookTube channel. So there are a lot of truly fantastic community members out there that just absolutely make my heart sing with happiness. But those are the two, at least in the most recent past, that have been a huge part of my BookTube life. So that's that. That is the 2021 Mid-Year Freakout tag. Hopefully this is still fun for you to see all of the different community members come together and answer these questions. Hope you find some good recommendations or maybe some things to avoid in the process. Thank you for spending time with me. I hope you have a fantastic reading day. Like and subscribe if you'd like to see more from me or this channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!